In the past 90 days, ChatGPT has actually sent me over 2,000 people to my website and my YouTube videos. Isn't that crazy? So this means that when somebody goes into ChatGPT and they're asking for help, resources, guidance on a certain topic, or wanting to know who offers solutions to certain things, ChatGPT is recommending me when people ask those types of questions when it comes to online marketing and business. I actually didn't even realize this was happening at first until I checked my stats in Google Analytics and saw that my traffic from ChatGPT, OpenAI was steadily increasing month after month. And so I really just wanted to break it down in this video, like how in the world is this happening? Like how are people finding me on ChatGPT? What am I doing to have ChatGPT recommend me to that many people every single month? At this point, it's a minimum of like 500 plus people. Honestly, it's going up and up and up every single month. So I really wanted to share with you how you can do that too. Okay, so the first thing that you need in order for ChatGPT to recommend you is making sure you have a solid brand, okay? And basically, who the heck are you? How do people know who you are? And making that in like as plain of terms as possible and things that people are actually like typing into ChatGPT, right? And so, for example, instead of using language on your website, your Instagram, your messaging, like I empower entrepreneurs to be their best self, it's like nobody knows what that means. So getting more specific about what exactly it is that you do. For example, my brand is specifically centered around helping business owners, entrepreneurs with online marketing, specifically with things like Instagram marketing, YouTube marketing, email marketing, funnels, things like that. And so a lot of my content is centered around those things. So we have a solid brand. So under this, we're gonna add messaging, clear language, specific, niche, because when you have a brand that people can clearly understand, and this is consistent across all platforms. So like if we have our YouTube videos here, let's say we have email marketing here. We also have things like Instagram. Maybe we also have a blog, which a blog is a great way to get in front of new people with this because it's like long form written content that things like ChatGPT, AI, even Google SEO can like clearly understand. And this is all saying the exact same thing. It creates this consistent message across the board about what you do, who you help. If ChatGPT can see that you are saying the same things, helping with the same things, doing the same things across all of your different platforms, and that you almost have this like omnipresent way of showing up in different ways that is all essentially the same exact brand. And it comes back to like all of these things here. So then that kind of leads me into the next thing I wanted to mention, which is things like long form content. So we've got like YouTube and a blog. If you're doing something like a podcast, that would also be very similar to this. That is really going to be pure gold when it comes to ChatGPT finding you, because these types of content is extremely searchable and it's long form. So that means that it can read it very easily. It's able to decipher a lot more easily like what you're helping people with. So for example, I had somebody reach out to me and ask about my coaching because she put in ChatGPT that she was looking for somebody who does YouTube and who uses Flowdesk. And I've done multiple videos that got turned into blog posts that are all about that exact topic. And so ChatGPT recommended me as a resource and she reached out. And in kind of a similar way, I guess I should also add, just like your website in general, it's also a really great way for people to find you. And this includes creating like website pages, right? This also includes things like sales pages. So I actually had a student last month who bought my YouTube for Business course during Black Friday. And she told me that she originally found me because ChatGPT recommended my YouTube for Business course. And then she searched on YouTube for help with YouTube and she found me on YouTube, which she would have never found me if I didn't have a SEO optimized sales page on my website for my course. And I know there's such a push now to really just like not have a website or not have some website pages and not make that a priority, which nothing says that you like have to do it. I do think that there is so much power in being able to have something that is extremely searchable like this, because then platforms can recommend you way more easily. And so I'll actually put a link to my YouTube for Business sales page if you're curious about that. It would be things like optimizing the titles, the heading, the text, the description, description, the SEO title, things like that are what you want to be doing here when it's your website pages. There's obviously so much more that goes into it, but that's kind of the basics. And then if you're also blogging, that tells Google that your website is fresh, it's being kept up to date, that you're posting new content, and then that can also help like your website in general. I actually put a little bit more about just like my content system, a little bit more about how this works and laying it out for you inside of a free download that's like a breakdown of ChatGPT, SEO, even more in depth on how this works. So if you want to grab that, I'll have a link down below in the description, especially if you're already frantically taking notes and trying to like learn everything that I'm talking about here. And also I should really mention here that you'll notice that YouTube is really the foundation of a lot of my content, and how I'm able to create a lot of this content is because I'm doing YouTube videos first. So my YouTube content gets turned into automatic blog posts every week. It gets turned into emails to my newsletter every week. It gets turned into ideas or actual content for my Instagram every week. And so by creating these YouTube videos, it takes a lot of that pressure off of me to have to create content for all of these different places. And obviously like your website, once you have that set up once, you're not having to like create new content for it, but doing like this type of stuff on a weekly or daily basis, YouTube is absolutely incredible. And I'll have a free YouTube class linked in the description. It's like a free 1-hour class where it's actual like juicy information on how to get started with YouTube. It's the best resource I have out there if you're wanting to create videos like this to help grow your brand. So one more thing that I really want to talk about is essentially this idea of how doing all of this stuff helps to build leadership, is what I want to call it. Like leadership in your niche, in your space. And that is how ChatGPT is deciding, like, do I recommend you or do I recommend other people? And by doing these things, this is going to help with our, see if I can write down here, our leadership in ChatGPT's eyes. Like that you are a leader in the space, that you know what you're talking about, that you have like this huge breadth of information about a certain topic. Something that comes to mind when it comes to leadership is being specific and consistent in your content here. But another thing that helps lead to this leadership, my marker is about to give out, I apologize, but is other people talking about you. So when other people are mentioning you, whether it's on their website, whether it is they're going to ChatGPT and saying like, hey, Stephanie Kase like talks about this, can you help me with this? That is going to help build your leadership in ChatGPT's eyes. And some of that is a little more organic. Like you can't tell people, hey, can you please go into ChatGPT and like talk about me so that it knows who I am, right? That is a part of it, but that's not something you can really force people to do. So how else can we build leadership and get other people talking about us? We can do things like podcast interviews, collaborations with other people in our space or other people who have the same audience as us, but maybe do a slightly different thing. It can be things like sharing student testimonials about your offers. So going back to sharing those testimonials on your website, on your sales page, making sure that that's a part of what is in your content. So you can even share that within different pieces of content you post. And really here, as much as you can, if you can make it written, that's going to be the easiest way for AI and things like that to basically crawl and see what it is that you're sharing. It can't read visuals and photos, at least that I'm aware of, the last that I checked. It can't read photos as well. It has a little harder time. So as much as you can put that into written form, if you look at my sales page, go look at the one for YouTube for Business. I have lots of screenshots on there of student results, but I also have lots of written testimonials so that it is very easy for things like Google and AI to actually read and then say, oh, like not only is Stephanie saying her course is good, but here are all these people that are also talking about it. And that can be so incredibly powerful. So I hope this got your wheels turning about how you can structure your website and also your content to have ChatGPT start recommending you to people too. And again, if you haven't grabbed that free download on how all of this works, it has even more visuals, graphics, things like that, and goes into even more detail on some of these things. So you can easily start implementing it yourself. So if you haven't yet, be sure to go grab that. It's right below in the description, totally free. And if you have any questions about anything that we talked about or how all of this works, feel free to drop a comment and I'd love to follow up and answer that for you. And I'll see you again in next week's video on Tuesday. Bye guys.